Hello, hello, everyone. Happy
Oh,
Thursday. Hopefully, everybody's doing great. And we
everybody's
have
doing
Irina
better.
Pornova. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize beforehand. I have a little delay on my end. So that could be one of the situations. You can see I'm still driving, but I'll be joining you from the laptop in just a moment. But I wanted to start today's topic with, if you were to pass away today, go to the next life, if you believe on the next life, do you think you fulfill your dreams? Do you think that you do the best you could with the time you had? And would you feel okay with everybody that you leave behind, knowing that you left the best of you? I know there's a lot of questions and loaded questions, but who would like to start?
I do, I do, I do,
Let's
I
go,
do.
Kara. Yeah.
This is crazy because I actually just had, we talk about this all the time, right? Like, something, but you don't know till you know. So I just
Hmm.
had one of those no moments. That sounded different than it
Okay.
did. But in the car, I was realizing I was driving with my husband somewhere, going to the grocery store. It was like a no nothing moment, right? But I had this realization that if we were to get into a car accident and they were to die, my world would be destroyed. But if I were to die, I would be fine. I was so happy, so content, so loved, so aware of how much my people in my community support, lift me up, how happy my life has been. I mean, I'm not asking for it to end. I'm excited to see what comes next, but I got weepy in the car realizing that if I just I needed people to know that like they don't have to carry any weight or any arguments that we've ever had under the water gone. Any challenges we've ever lived through, I'm good with. I am so happy with my life that if I were to be taken out, I want everyone to know I'm good. Like we're good. It's good. Now, the idea of them being taken out would absolutely destroy me, and I would need all of those people who make my life so good to come around and be there for me. But me, like I'm really, and I got to talk to my husband about that and be like, I understand that like if I died, it would be the reverse, right? Like that your world would be in a
Mhm.
hot mess space. But no, as you're going through your own absolutely valid and real grief in that space, that I'm good, that I'm like so good though. Yeah.
I love what you share, Kara, because like once you immerse in this work and understand, right? And I keep preaching that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Then death means nothing because we know that it's just like the body.
Yeah.
Our soul is eternal, and we just continue experience the consciousness regardless whether we are in our human body or out of the body, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is that actually for people who have been into the other side of life, right, who experienced the death and then they were coming back, right, they are describing then it's a bliss because there is no pain, right? Because everything what we are experiencing, because we have that physical reality, nothing is applies when you are in that like celestial space to stay, right, in the vast universe. So in other words, it's pure joy, bliss, and love, right?
Yeah.
So the more you tune into that you realize that, hey, we are here just to play a game. We are here to learn the lessons. And if we are not mastering these lessons, guess what? Another time we come back again in another lifetime. And the lessons are going to repeat until we actually learn them. That's why it's so important, like people are walking around and saying, I want a good karma, right? So because they want to, just speed up the process and get higher on their evolutionary level. So this way, they don't have to suffer. They don't have to go through bad experiences. because it's all about getting the points to be a good student, right? But coming back to the idea, if you know, like that was the last day of the life, and this is something I always emphasize to the clients, because people think that, you know, the life is somewhere far away to be ended, which, you know, God willing, that's the case.
Absolutely true.
A lot
Yes.
of people are walking with this perception that it's not going to be me, it's not going to be now. And a lot of times they procrastinate on themselves. They are not doing something that they truly want to do because they always find the excuses. Okay, when the kids are going to go to college, when, you know, I get a better job, when I have more money in the bank. And the idea is it's always going to be something. It's never going to be a perfect time. A perfect time is the time when we assign for ourselves, when we choose to step out of that comfort zone and we make a decision. Okay, today is the day when I'm going to start creating another life because I want to live the life on my terms. I am sick and tired to experience the same BS that I'm experiencing because of my BS, right? Because of my belief system. So it's never too late. But the point is, like, if something, God forbid, happened to me today, I would be happy because at least I'm doing something that I love doing. At least I feel fulfilled.
And I love that we're both at that place. So I'm going to flip the script and talk a little bit about when I wasn't at that place. I remember, y'all, so clearly, about 20 years ago, lying on the floor of my bathroom, sobbing into a towel because I didn't want to wake my partner at the time. I didn't want him to hear me crying because then I'd have to like confront to somebody else how miserable I was, how much I wanted it to end. And not that I really wanted me to end, but I didn't see any other way of this mess that I was in ever being any different. And just laying on the ground, sobbing, thinking, there has to be something different. There has to be this can't be how we are supposed to experience this does not feel right. And it took 20 years, guys, to be fully on the other side of that, in a place where I was like, take me now, I'm good. Fine. Not that I want that. Don't take me now. I'm so good.
Yes. Totally.
But to know, I just wanted to share with everyone that it hasn't always been rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns. That is not my experience historically, but it can be, because it is now. Like, I'm living that way now. And the craziest part is not that much is actually that different in my life. Is that weird? Like, very
Right.
little. But the energy, the mindset, while the tangibles may be very similar, my experience of them is wholly different.
And perception, right? Of everything around.
Yeah. When do you remember the shifts happening for you?
Well, 6 years ago, when I had the turbulence in my marriage, that was the time when I really was shook up, right? I had like this, like somebody literally just shake me and was like, wake up, right? And that was the first time when I started to question, like, why am I in this situation? And what have I done? And what am I going to do going forward?
Yeah.
And that was like, I was not aware about spirituality whatsoever. I was just living in the 3D world, experiencing it as is. And that was the first time when I started to like really wonder, is there anything besides what I can experience with my five senses? And the more I started to tune in, the more I became very interested in esoteric. because it's those were the things that I really started to draw the knowledge about myself. I was having the reading by astrology. I was having the reading by numerologists. And it's interesting, no matter which discipline I was turning to, the information was the same. So it's that's just to prove the point. If somebody is still making fun, saying this is all BS, it's not BS. If you really start digging into that, and just the fact of our name and the date of birth, it's like a chip that we all carry, and it has a lot of information in. And it's not to say that we cannot change reality, because that's exactly what we are doing in this life, but it's all, with the free will, right? But there is a certain path that we are more likely to take in order for us to experience the changes. And exactly after that moment, when I started really learning about myself, that was the time when I started to understand that I want to do something different in my life. And obviously nothing happened till pandemic hit, because again, comfort kept me where I am. And that's exactly how a lot of people can relate to that, right? Obviously, I'm not, explaining the whole experience I went through, like with my relationship. But the point was that we overcame it. We reconciled, right? We were able to stay together. But the point is, it just woke me up. It woke me up to something higher, to something better. And from that moment on, it was like, I was living in this world, yet I wasn't here, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, like you are operating on a different dimension, And it's like you're living in your own reality. Has nothing to do with anything what you're physically experiencing, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what was going on. And from that moment on, when I started to learn more and more about myself, I became more and more aware how precious the life is, and how it is important to appreciate everything what we have in life.
Yes. Johnny, I don't know, catching you up, since I know you were disappeared. So we first talked about how both of us are absolutely happy. We are living that space where life is good. Like if we were taken out, we'd be good. Now, if other people were taken out, that'd be a whole different conversation. We went down that path. But this has not always been our life. This way of living came to both of us at different. Mine was 2 decades ago, crying on a floor, sobbing into a blanket or into a towel, not wanting to wake my partner, because then I'd have to confront this in front of somebody else. And Irina's was during some rocky time in her marriage about 7 years ago. So we'd love to hear yours, because currently we have a 20-year path and a 7-year path that absolutely gets you to not that place. What about you?
With me, I started to realize that you shouldn't take life for granted. And I said I started to realize because it hit me, but I guess it didn't hit me hard enough. Give or take 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It hit me, but didn't hit me hard enough. And then 4.5 years ago, it hit me for the second time. But this time it knocked me down. It wasn't like a quick reminder. It was very, very heavy for me. And truly made me realize how much impact I can have in somebody else's life, and how much impact can somebody have in my life when they're gone. Because we take that person is going to wake up every single day for granted. We believe that our kids or spouses or best friends are just going to be there. As I was telling Irina right before we jumped in, today's topic was going to be something else. But as you can see, I'm wearing all black. I just left a funeral. So, and it was from a good friend of mine, her mom. She saw me grow up since I was 12 throughout high school. She used to wait for us in her house and make us laugh and talk about that was the first adult in my life
that actually talked to me with some sort of love and compassion and willing to teach and not to say like you should know that already. So going today to her funeral was shocking for me because it was somebody that regardless of what was happening in her life, she always had a huge smile on her face. And she was always willing to help. Things that we all take for granted. So that's why today I came to that wake up call that we have not spoke about what happened when we leave.
Yeah. I love I'm hearing a path too, because we often think, okay, I've got the wake up call, then what follows that?
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard it in 3 different ways already, is that first you decide that this is not, that the other way is no longer acceptable. The idea that life is, not taking care of that space is no longer an option. Like, we're really going to do this life thing. First you decided, then you start to do the things. Choose that, regardless of what's going on, be there for somebody else. Decide that you're going to reach into the universe and summon things to you, that you're going to do the big, deep internal work to process through that so you can hold that space for someone else. You do the things. But it takes deciding and then doing before you even really believe it, right? Like, so my big wake up was 20 years ago, but 7 years ago is when it was like, oh no, non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you get to be that. Once you believe it, you get to be it.
Mm-hmm. And please don't get us wrong. That doesn't mean that we don't still make mistakes. That doesn't mean that we sometimes forget and take things again for granted. That just means that we now are a little more aware, because I cannot say that we're hyper aware, because if we were hyper aware, that wouldn't leave our minds and that wouldn't be healthy either. But we are very aware of how we treat other people and how we want them to treat us and us to treat them. I would love to. I see that there's a few viewers. I see that somebody put a thumbs up. If you have gone through a situation like that, just give us a little heart to let us know, hey, I'm here. I've gone through a wake-up call already. And because wake-up calls are not bad, although they can come in a situation that is the least expected and the one you least wanted, they're not bad, because thanks to that, in my case, and I guess in Irina's and Kara's, we have become a little more sensitive to other people's situations. And the one thing that I want to tell you is that if you're not aware, if a wake-up call hasn't happened, and right now you're hearing a lot of cliches of, hey, yeah, I know I'm supposed to be like this, but hey, why? Like, nobody cares about me. Why should I care about them? I strongly recommend you to just give it a try. Find whomever is the most important person in your life right now, because that sometimes can change, and treat them with a ton of love. Okay? And see how in a week, in a month, in 2 months, that person starts reacting in a way that you never expected, even though you already were treating that person already what you thought it was the most special you could.
And I would challenge you to make that person you.
Yeah.
Love it.
That is a tough one.
I would say, in my experience, and I will speak for me and not everyone, but the hardest part of it, I can love other people so much, but to put boundaries in that protect me, to make choices that are for me, even if somebody else isn't going to like it, but it means that I get to show up more authentically and more genuinely and be more present, provided that I have the things that I need. I was not trained for that. I was not groomed for that. I was groomed for the exact opposite, to put me last all of the time. And so it's real easy to have that grace for someone else. Ooh, but for myself.
Kara, I can relate to that, because I think we were all not brought up to think about ourselves, right? Because we were told, don't try to be smarter than everybody else, or never boast about yourself, or this is bad. never say compliments about yourself. This is so like bad manners, right? And that's exactly how we raised. But for some, like for some reason, I feel very good about like, receiving the compliments. And like I always joke around, I say, hey, I love to get them more. Just, like bring them on.
And I'm glad you both brought this, because the one thing that Kara said, love yourself more, how that translates to me, to my personal growth, is that I used to be the type of person that I would hide my mistakes as much as I could, because I was so ashamed and so afraid that somebody would see a mistake that I made, that put me in this terrifying position that was so uptight. I wouldn't laugh, I wouldn't smile. I was like always so trying to be so proper and so perfect in front of everybody, that let me tell you, once you drop all that load, you feel so much happier. Yeah. And then back to what Irina said, I love she mentioned about the compliments, talking about yourself, not about just what people give you, but about you. Because let me tell you, although it's because the way we're brought up, and Irina hit it to the point, it's hard for us to talk about ourselves. It's so healthy. It's so healthy to say, I'm really freaking good at this, that, or the other. And I enjoy this, that, and the third. And I can open up and I have a fan of possibilities because of all the talents that I have. And also, that brings me to the other situation. When people don't have that, when people are really brought up really strict on don't talk about yourself, put others first before you put yourself, because that's why when Kara mentioned that the person that you should love the most should be you, I love it, because I have friends right now that are dealing with feelings. They're feeling that they're being selfish if they put themselves first, although they really know they need it. They know that their body and soul craves for some self-love, but because they have so many fires to put out, they rather take care of everybody else's fires before taking care of them. And at the long run, it's just gonna help you burn and crash, because nobody can withstand all that pressure without taking care of themselves.
Oh, I love this. We have a Facebook comment. I had to love my dogs first, and they taught me how to love again.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Unconditional love. Yeah. That was a huge changer for me in having my son. I'm going to speak to that. So my own pink baby, rather than fur baby, right? Children look at you with unconditional love.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how you look at them. You taught them that, which means that ability is in you. And when I tell you, like, that's so obvious, but when it clicked in my brain and I had to go to that authentic and vulnerable place with myself to give that to myself so that I could give it to others. That humility and grace we want to see in other people, it starts with vulnerable, authentic self-work. And it's not easy. It's not easy.
Mm-mm.
You know what? I just wanted to add when we are talking about ourselves, like my biggest thing is like, I am flawsome. I'm awesome with all my flaws. And it's great just to admit it and recognize that we are all imperfect, but so what?
Yes.
Just love ourselves deeper with all the imperfections, because each one of us is unique as the thumbprint. Yes. And each one of us is brought here for a reason. Each one of us has the gift that nobody else has.
Mm-hmm. That is true. And the more we realize that you don't have to be perfect to be loved, and that those imperfections can actually be loved by somebody else, if you actually are, like Kara said, humble enough and say, look, here are my flaws, take it or leave it, but I want to be true to my colors. Look, if a person actually says, you know what, I'm putting all my chips onto that, even with all your flaws, those are the people that you want around. That's what I think Kara is talking about every time she says, "Who's uh, um, who has your freak flag?" The person that is putting all the chips onto you and betting everything, burning on all the bridges because they really want to do something with you. And I'm not talking not only about marriage, I'm talking about all types of relationships. There are friends out there that would actually drop everything to see you doing well. And those are the people that you also want to say, you know what, let me do the same back. There are so many good people nowadays that are alone because they don't have anybody to say, you know what, let me cheer you on your race.
Yeah.
And
Remember
can I
that
just
everybody that you have. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like again, talking about the circulation, the law of circulation. A lot of people know how to give, but they do not know how to receive. So it's okay for them to help others. Yet, if somebody asks, tell them, okay, let me help you with something. Okay, let me give you the gift. They would be like, oh, no, 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 no. And that's exactly how they are breaking this law, because at the end they are going to be the one to lack in love, to lack in finances, and to lack in other areas of their life, because that law works like a clock. If you give to people, you learn how to be a gracious receiver as well, whether the compliments, whether somebody wants to give you a hand, a lift. And yes, of course, just be grateful. Don't deny, don't say no, because the universe hears no, then you do not need anything. And then a lot of good people are wondering what's going on. I'm helping everybody else, yet I'm still living my miserable life. That's why, because they are not following the universal laws.
Mm-hmm. That is true. And I was just going to say, one of the things that you want to remember is that everybody that you have close to you, they're your mirror. They either have something that you need or can help you reflect on the things that you have mistakes on, and you can see it from the outside in, which is the best way to learn. Because if you can have compassion for the other person that has mistakes, most of the time, 9 out of 10, you're going to have the same mistakes, but in other areas of your life. That's why it's so important that the people that you have in front of you, they're not only just a person because a person. I on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was Monday, I heard somebody on a reel say that if the people that you have around you no longer inspire you to grow and be better, it's time to move on. Although it sounds hard and it goes against what we've been saying, that there's a people alone, it's also hard for you to give something better to other people when you have nothing else to give. When you really have reached your maximum potential, then either you become complacent or you start getting bored of life, which is not good either. So don't feel that because somebody was in your life and was very important. I mean, I'm not telling you to stop being friends. Please understand that. All I'm telling you is that it's now for you to find a new circle of people. It's now time for you to move on to people that can help you dream bigger. Because one thing, whomever has your ear, you have theirs. Meaning that whatever you keep hearing from them, if you keep hearing negativity or things that go against your values, it's time for you to move on. In life, you will learn that as them take their path, and later on you guys will reunite at some point, because you're not finishing the friendship, you're just not spending as much time. You would see that that person has learned so much and you have learned so much that who knows, you may be back as you were, like nothing ever happened. but please don't get stuck with, oh, that's my friend forever since we were wearing diapers. And because of that, you get stuck in a rut where your life is not going anywhere.
You know what I wanted to add in terms of the mirrors, Johnny? What's important to understand that we are each other mirrors is when something is triggering us in the person, it means we have the work to do. It's not that person. That person is actually just reflecting to us what exactly we have to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is true.
And to the comment, so the mirror, and also when you put those boundaries in to protect yourself so that you can be in those spaces and hold those spaces and traverse with the people walking the same place in the path as you, that does not in any way degrade the people that you are walking ahead of, walking behind. Not having to put a boundary is it. That's why you have to do that in work, because it has literal nothing to do with the other people. If you go through a long break because of life, it can be any number of things. It can be because you've moved across states. It can be because, well, they were your work bestie and you went to a new work. And then, being friends when you're adults is just a whole new level of challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be because you're at different levels of healing. And this is the one that mirror thing. When you get to look into a mirror and see yourself reflected around people that lift and support, it's really, really soul gratifying. But I've also been in the place where in looking in that mirror, I felt like I was less than, or not as worthy as, because other people were at different places in their path, and they're different places in their healing, different places in their journey. And it's not a reflection on me. But if I had tried to be with them in that place, I would feel less, rather than being in a place where I felt of or lifted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just want people to know that that's going to change, that people will come and go and boundaries will shift around what you need and what is good for them as well. And this doesn't mean anybody's bad or at fault or naughty or gross, or none of that exists in real life. You're just
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's all about everybody has their level of awareness.
And I love what Kara said. All those labels that Kara mentioned, they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
We make that up as society to be able to name something. Because, look, I've been always of the mindset that you should do what's right and what's honorable. But I can look back in my life, as now that I'm 37 years old, and I can mention you times that although I have that thought, I have done things that now I'm like, why did I do that? Like I question myself, like, if I know this and it's always been in me, why did I allow myself to disrespect myself like that? And if you look back at your own life, you will find things that go against your beliefs, but you have done them. So it's really hard for you to put a label on somebody else and just judge them. Just believe that whatever they did, it was right for them at that time, period.
Yes. Yeah. As if people could fit in boxes. Like that's one of the biggest lies that we tell each other. Oh, as soon as you can just put it in a little container and that will contain all of thisness. No, you're a whole universe. Yes, it is easier to label something than to truly say it and identify it for the complex and delicious hot mess that we all are.
Yes, and that's where, when you truly start enjoying life, when you truly start cherishing those imperfections from everybody else. And I keep focusing on imperfections because it's so easy to love when somebody's nice to you. It's so easy for you to forgive when somebody's nice to you. It's so easy for you to go the extra mile when somebody's nice to you. It's so easy to be good when somebody gives you the right compliment at the right time. But wait until they tell you something different. or wait until they tell you no for the first time after telling you hundreds of yeses. That's when we as humans start making mistakes and forgetting. So make sure that whomever you have around, tell them that you love them. Show them that you care, because telling them is not enough. And then cherish those imperfections. Okay? And if it's a person that right now is no longer helping you get inspired to wake up in the morning and meet them for a cup of coffee, don't disregard them. Keep them as friends. But it's time to move on to a new circle.
Yeah.
Figure what your passion is. Figure that is what I think life is living at the fullest. Not how much money you have in the bank account. I'm not saying the money is bad. I'm the contrary. I'm saying there is God, there is oxygen, and there's money. That's how important it is. Without God or oxygen, you're not here. And without money, you're not here either. I mean, you will be here, but not enjoying it really much. So please understand that a person is not just what is in their bank account. I can tell you times in my life what I've been doing really, really good financially, but I was weighing 300 and some pounds and I was miserable. So I want to do a quick wake-up call. I want to shake all of you a little bit, literally, and tell you, hey, guys, wake up. Please, life is passing by and you're not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop taking it so serious.
Right. And be more mindful, right? Be more mindful.
Hard, make it weird.
Live in the present moment. Enjoy, like celebrate yourself every day. Just the fact that you wake up, celebrate. Because knowing that somebody didn't get up, right? So just celebrate and then put the intention to make the best out of that day. Do something that really inspires you. Do something for yourself besides running through the routine that you're supposed to do and going through your to-do list. Do something for yourself.
Yeah. And like Facebook user, because I wish I had your name, says, love them hard, make it weird.
I love this.
I think that's so important. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't remember when was the last time that you went outside for a walk and you let your imagination run wild, it's time to do so.
And I want to touch on that because I had this realization the other day. My son decided he wanted an adventure. He wanted a car adventure. He wanted to go to a store. We went to the pet store. Ooh, look at the pretty plants that I got at the pet store. Aren't they pretty?
Nice.
Yay for adventures. But in that, he decided he also wanted a walking adventure. So we literally just walked around the outside perimeter of this like strip mall thing and the rocks and the electrical boxes that are on the side. And I thought, you don't have to go for a walk. You can go do a thing and then just slow down, take a breath, and experience the place that you are in. You don't even have to cultivate these experiences. You can just take them wherever you are. And that I want to speak to those who are struggling, who are in that place where things you know that things need to change. It is not comfortable. You are not enjoying this. This is not how life is supposed to be. You're right. And having known people who have taken themselves out, having been in a place where I wanted it to end, if you hit that spot, it absolutely can end without you having to end. You literally can decide that you're just not going to be that person anymore. And I know that seems so ridiculously simple. Like all of this stuff seems so cliche and so simple because it is, guys. It really is this simple. You just decide that person is now dead and I'm now living a happier life. Simple not being easy. The hard part is you then have to go do the thing so you believe the thing so you can be the thing, right? The steps we talked about. You have to choose to be authentically happy and then be vulnerable enough to do the work to be happy so that you can have the humility and grace to exist happily. just
I
want to go
love
through the
this.
steps again.
So true.
Yeah.
And the more you do this work, the more you become fearless. Then it's like, you know what? Heck with that. I'm choosing me. I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing something that's good for me. If somebody cannot appreciate me in their space, they don't get my presence.
Yay. Mhm.
That is absolutely true. So now that we have a few steps that Kara shared with us, look, it'll be nice if even after this, you text somebody, tell them that you care for them, and let us know. I just did it. That's all. We don't need to know what you did. I just did it.
I did it.
Because at the end of the day, you take absolutely nothing to your grave. Nothing, not even your own body or what you think is your own body. That disintegrates and stays here on earth, like it or not.
Dirt to dirt.
But the memories, but the memories and everything you do, they last for a lifetime. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at Napoleon Hill. Look at all these people that now we know them just by name because we were not, we were not blessed enough to meet them in person, but their thoughts and their stories and their history, it's in books, and now we can get a wealth of information to better our path by having those people. So you can be one of those persons or one of those people that leaves a legacy, but you just haven't had the courage to say, you know what, I'm done with who I used to be.
Totally. That's why we are
So,
here. Everybody comes here for the reason, and it's our job to discover what it is.
mhm. So does anybody has anything else to add today?
Just keep loving yourself and everybody around. Appreciate. Don't take anything for granted. Appreciate everything. Appreciate the beauty around you. Appreciate the comfort that you have. Appreciate the people, the gestures, the words, the compliments, right? And live every day as if this is your last day. So this way you can really, really experience the joy from life.
Mm-hmm. Kara, do you have?
I do. Well, I love that. This is a great spot to drop this. So I Googled yesterday inspiration. Yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And it has two definitions. One is the creation of an idea or thought, right? The inspiration, what we all know. And then also inspiration, like inhaling, the inspiration of inhaling. And I thought, is this why literally just stop and take 4 belly breaths? Just take that inspiration can inspire your inspiration, and that will inspire others. It's that simple. So if nothing else, I give you permission to love yourself and take 4 breaths. If that's all you do today, you won. Good job.
Mm-hmm. That is true. And on my end, I have a big shout out to our boy Bruno, who's not here with us because he understood the assignment. He's actually spending time with family, making sure that they know that he loves them and cares for them. So just want to tell you that we miss you, but we know family is important, and that is the reason. Yeah, enjoy it. That is the reason why we do what we do, and we wake up every day. So without further ado,
till next week.
family.
Lots of love. See you next time.
Love you all.